Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. And in this episode, I might die of hypothermia. Okay, probably not, but it is pretty cold out there. It is January, which means we're very close to pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training in February. So we'll get you up to date. There's been actually a lot of activity going on with signings and trades and stuff like that. We'll get you updated on the Manny Machado watch, which is slowly fading away. And since we're here in the offseason and we're talking about trades and free agent signings and stuff like that, we'll look back at Yankees GM Brian Cashman and what we'll call the Dirty Dozen. But Dirty Dozen in a good way, moves he's had over the season. So let's get it started. And it seems like Manny Machado won't be coming to the Bronx, and not that I'm heartbroken about that, but there's been no movement on it. Yes, the sides were both in talks for a while, but you know, we're just a couple of weeks away from spring training, and he's still not signing pinstripes, which makes me feel like it's not going to happen. Now, you know, there's been some teasing back and forth, like he would follow the Yankees on Instagram a little bit, and then he would not unfollow the Yankees, you know, playing little cat and mouse games. But it just seems that it's a situation where the Yankees would like him, but they're not desperate for him. They might have an offer on the table, but it might be just for a limited amount of years and a limited amount of money. Similar to what they did to Robinson Cano. So like, yeah, we would like you back, but only at a certain price. And how bad you want to be a Yankee? And on his side, well, you can't blame him. He's a young guy right now. He's 26 years old. This is his opportunity to make like $250 or $300 million. So I don't think he's going to want to take a discount, even if he does, ultimately would love to play for the Yankees ideally, but he's also got to think about his life and long term. And, you know, if you could get more money from somewhere else, he's probably going to go there. And I think the Yankees are like, all right, fine, we'll sign Troy Tulowitzki, we'll sign DJ LeMahieu. You know, we really don't need you. And again, that's fine with me, because I'd just rather use that big money in the future for someone like Judge or Severino or you know, Gary Sanchez. So if, you know, Machado doesn't come here, fine. We don't need him anyway. Got plenty of right-handed power. Sure, he'd be nice, but I'm okay with having Andahar at third base, and let's see him develop, and let Didi come back in the middle of the season. And when Didi's a free agent after this year, use the money for Didi. So for the headline news, the Yankees decided upon Zach Britton for the bullpen. Now, I thought they would go with David Robinson, but they locked down Britton, a 3-year deal worth $39 million. But there's a little twist in the contract. If after the second year the Yankees don't pick up a fourth year in the deal, he can opt out. So really, technically, it's kind of a 2-year deal, pseudo 3 to 4 year deal. Kind of weird, whatever. But a little surprised by the move again. As I said, I thought they'd keep on to Robinson, but Britton is 2 years younger than Robinson, as well as 2 years younger than Andrew Miller. So maybe they feel there's this, you know, less wear and tear on his arm. Now, they picked up Britton last season to trade with the Baltimore Orioles. He was okay. I wasn't wowed by him, but you got to understand, he's working his way back from a major Achilles surgery. So you figure in 2019 and beyond, he'll be a little better, he'll be a little stronger. And he was a guy 2 or 3 seasons ago as the closer for the Baltimore Orioles, was absolutely nasty. And maybe they just feel, look, he could get back to that form. And if he does buy the Yankees, it's a great move. Robinson takes a 2-year deal, goes pitch for the Phillies, and Andrew Miller, both of them, again, I would love to take either of them as well. He also got a 2-year deal with the Cardinals. But again, both those guys are 2 years older than Britton, so maybe age had to do with it. Again, Britton sat out a little bit with his surgery, so yeah, he was recuperating his Achilles, but he was saving bullets on his arm, and maybe now the Yankees want to get those bullets. So a good deal for the Yankees, and you got to think about this with Chapman. Now, after this season, Chapman can opt out of his deal. Now, he signed a 5-year deal where he could opt out after the third. So let's say Chapman has a great 2019. He says, hey, look, I could get a better deal. I could get a long deal. If he opt out, well, Cashman could say goodbye, bye-bye. And then now Britton, who used to close for the Baltimore Orioles, you could slot him in there as your closer, at least for the next 2 years. You don't have to worry about it. Now, the Yankees, maybe they saw Robinson as expendable, because now you got to remember, Robinson's a right-handed pitcher. Well, Jonathan Holder kind of very emerged in 2018. And also the Yankees have Tommy Kahnle, who they got in that 3-player deal 2 seasons ago where they got Todd Frazier, Robinson, and Tommy Kahnle. Kahnle, again, a great weapon in 2017, especially during the playoffs. Now, 2018, early on he got hurt, was basically rehabbing in the minors a lot. Now, he did come back towards the end of the year, but we didn't get to see much of Kahnle, and he was just kind of the bottom of the pecking order. But, you know, at the time when they got the deal from him in 2017, he was almost the steal of the deal. And if he could come back into form as well as the emergence of Holder, and of course you have Chad Green, well then losing the righty Robinson isn't as big of a deal. And you just got to see it as a good move, and just hope Britton could get back into form. And if he does, again, the Yankees are probably going to have one of the best bullpens in baseball, and their starting rotation, which again is better than it was last year. Overall, the staff, which overall won 100 games last season, should go maybe equal or even better than that in 2019. In a stunning move, the Yankees pick up Troy Tulowitzki for shortstop. Now, a league minimum deal, but Tulowitzki has been a broken down player, released by the Toronto Blue Jays. I guess must impress scouts. Now, he held workouts out in California. I guess the Yankees sent some scouts and said, hey, this guy can still kind of play. And all right, it's a low risk, high ceiling type of situation. Now, Tulowitzki, 6-7 years ago, you talk about probably one of the best overall players in the game, multiple time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove winner. So if you can recapture any of that at shortstop for the Yankees for a little bit, it's not bad. Now, again, Didi's going to be out for a while. Probably not going to return to about June, July, as he comes back from the Tommy John surgery. So, look, if you get Tulowitzki there for a couple months and he gives you something, hey, why not? Now, he's not going to be able to play full time, so you might see, a little switching around, maybe give him a day off. Maybe, if Luke Voigt and Bird kind of fizzle out a little bit of first base, you could have Tulowitzki play a little first base and then, shift Torres to shortstop a little bit. You can move some pieces around. And Tulowitzki, you know what? He grew up idolizing Jeter. He kind of wanted to be a Yankee, and, well, now he's going to get a shot. I just think his body's been breaking down a lot. I just don't think he'll be able to last long. And it's just like, look, if he doesn't perform well, look, you can just cut him in spring training. So it's not like the Yankees are taking a big risk with the guy. And the fact that they add him just kind of makes you feel that, they probably feel like we're not going to get Machado here. So, the plan would have been, look, if they would have gotten Machado probably would have been the shortstop till Didi returned. But since maybe now they feel like we're not going to get Machado, let's get some other bodies in there. And another surprising move, the Yankees pick up DJ LeMahieu at second base. Now, the former Colorado Rocky won the batting title in 2016. He's also multi-time All-Star as well, 2-time Gold Glove winner. Good option for second base for the Yankees, and now the fact of bringing in another infielder just leads you more to believe that now, again, Manny Machado is not coming along. And it's a good idea for Cashman, number one, because now you got Tulowitzki at shortstop, but you're not going to be able to play him every day. So now you're going to have to move some guys around. So again, days that we have Torres at shortstop, then you have LeMahieu at second base, and he's a competent type guy, and he does have a little experience at third base as well. So let's just say, Andujar doesn't, get a little better at third base. You could slot LeMahieu there at third base as well and move Andujar around a little bit. So at least gives Boone some options to play with guys. And another thing, a very good thing that, yes, this guy was a former batting champion. So he's a contact hitter. The Yankees have too many swing and miss guys. Here's a guy who actually put the bat on the ball. So in those situations where you have a runner on third with less than 2 outs and you need a simple sacrifice fly, a guy like LeMahieu could probably come off the bench, or at least overall be the type of guy who can just make contact, get the runner in, versus all these other Yankee hitters who pretty much always go for like a 3-run homer. And for some of the younger baby bombers, the Yankees settled upon arbitration. Greg Bird, Sonny Gray, yes, he's still on the roster, I don't know how, and Della Betances. Now, what arbitration is basically, if you're a young player and you feel that, you put up certain stats and you earn certain money, you could go to the team and say, hey, look, this is what I put up, this is what I'm worth on the market. And the team might say, well, not really, we think you're worth lower, and you kind of settle upon a number. Now, if a player doesn't want to do that and they want to go to the arbitrators, such as Luis Severino's doing, Luis Severino's pretty much saying, look at the stats I put up in terms of market value, I should get more than the Yankees are willing to offer me. Now, CC Sabathia announced that this will be his final season as a professional player, so hopefully he goes out on top of the championship. But even before the spring training starts, he actually needed a non-invasive heart procedure, clean out a blood vessel. Now, I figured this would be something that would put him on the shelf for a while, but doctors give him a clear bill of health and he's ready to go for spring training. Now, Cashman announced that they were looking to get rid of Sonny Gray, but they still haven't made a move on him. And with the news with CC, it's possible that they just want to hold on to Gray just to see in case things don't work out with CC, or if CC is going to be on the shelf for a while. At least they have a guy you can slot in there as the number 5 starter. But since now CC's said he's ready to go for the season, kind of leaves Gray up in the air. So they're probably looking to move him. I don't know, maybe they haven't found the right deal yet. Maybe he'll come along, but at some point they're going to have to move Gray. But still, so far he's in pinstripes, and well, they had no choice. They had to settle an arbitration deal with him. But at some point, maybe during spring training, they should have him shipped out. And not a joke, but Scott Boras says Ellsbury is ready to go for the 2019 season and is ready to compete for a job in the outfield. Now, they're still paying the guy for a couple of years, so it's kind of weird. What do you do? And they talks that they might have wanted to ship him out to Seattle in the Cano deal, just go to get rid of one contract to bring in another contract. But we'll see how this happens. If he can somehow make the team and be a role player, maybe it's not such a bad guy to have off the bench. Again, he's kind of a speedy guy, can steal a base here or there. Still making a lot of money, but you really have no control of that. That's past history. But you also have Clint Frazier in there. Again, he was supposed to be one of the budding stars of the Yankees, but last season had the concussion problem, was never able to get into the lineup. So someone like Ellsbury could block Frazier, but then again, maybe Ellsbury and Frazier could kind of give themselves some competition and help motivate each other. But we'll see how it plays out. Brian Cashman has been GM of the New York Yankees since 1998, taking over for Bob Watson, and I personally think he's one of the best in the game. Now, a lot of people say, well, you're GM of the Yankees, you have billions of dollars and you could just buy players, but it's not that easy. I mean, yes, you can spend money on a player, and a lot of times you can make a mistake, A-Rod, but you got to spend money on the right player and make sure it turns out to be a good deal, and that's something that has bogged you down for so many years. So we'll look at Brian Cashman, we'll look at some of the moves he made, whether it's done by a trade or it was done by a free agency signing that turned to be an overall long-term good thing. And Cashman has been very skillful at making a lot of strategic trades where he gets the best out of the guy, paying him virtually nothing for a number of years, and then when it's time for them, their contract's up, he says, well, sorry, goodbye, go out of town. So we're going to review what I call my dirty dozen Cashman moves. Now, dirty dozen, I don't mean in a bad way, I almost mean like the movie, dirty dozen in a good way. Giancarlo Stanton. Now, I know a lot of Yankee fans don't want to hear that name right now because he didn't do well in the postseason, but overall, it was a great move by Cashman and almost a no-brainer, man. Really, the Marlins and Jeter came calling for Cashman. All he had to give up was Stalin Castro. Great, take him. And yeah, you're taking on a lot of his Stanton's contract. Yes, he signed through 2027, but you have to go through all the negotiations, the back and forth. You just like, all right, trade, get him quick, cut that all out. And you have a guy who was basically the reigning NL MVP now. Was he an MVP type player for the Yankees? No, but he fit in quite well overall in his first season, batting .266, 38 home runs with exactly 100 RBIs. More or less what you expected from him. Maybe you want a little more in the home run department, but you know, let's be realistic. You can't have a guy hitting like 50, 60 home runs every season. So hit 38, which is almost 40. Did his part. Now, the postseason, he was pretty bad, especially those at-bats against Craig Kimbrell. That's going to be in people's minds, but you have a guy who's only 29 years old. He'll get other opportunities again. This Yankee team is going to be in the postseason for the next 5, 6, seasons, just with this nucleus they have. So he'll have his chance to make up for it. And Stan, he's not even 30 years old yet, but already has 305 career home runs. So he's going to get 500 home runs for the Yankees. And again, once you have that golden number, and if you keep putting up RBIs, and he already has an NL MVP. Guy is going to be in the Hall of Fame, and let's say hopefully he gets 1 or 2 championships with the Yankees, might have that Yankee cap on. So 2016, the Yankees trade and pick up Aaron Hicks. Now they shipped out John Ryan Murphy, who was a backup catcher, nothing really special now, a good contact hitter, but again, nothing like, oh wow, you got to really give Brian Ryan Murphy. And in the long run, the Yankees got the much better end of the deal. Now Hicks in his first season wasn't that good in pitch ice, the numbers put up, but you saw the raw talent. Switch hitter from both sides of the plate with power, great outfielder, could cover a lot of ground, and a very, very strong arm. It's just he wasn't performing well, so after the 2016 season, the Yankees had to make a decision. But in 2017, the Yankees hung in with him, and he really started to stabilize himself. Hit 15 home runs with 52 RBIs, but it was really 2018 where he really took that next leap. 27 home runs, 79 RBIs, and overall one of the best outfielders in the game. I bet one of the baby bombers, Gleyber Torres. Now, the 2016 Yankees were a little underwhelming. When it looks like they weren't going to make the playoffs, Cashman started stripping down some of the pieces. Sent away Andrew Miller, sent away Carlos Beltran, and sent away Aroldis Chapman. Now, at the time, the Cubs were a very strong team, and it looked like they were destined to go to the World Series. The one thing they were missing was a closer, and by trading Chapman to them, you were essentially handing them a World Series. So when they made the deal, Chapman for Torres, I was against it. I said, look, you could have done a little better than that. You're handing them a championship. Couldn't you get players that are ready, now? At the time, Torres was a single-A player. Yes, the top-rated player in their system, the Cubs system, but you figure, all right, he's a single-A. You're not going to see the guy in pinstripes for like 4 or 5 years. But, hey, I was wrong. Actually, Torres went through the system pretty quickly. Even though, he hurt himself sliding in 2017, sliding home. He actually needed Tommy John surgery, but that really didn't seem to slow him down. Joined the Yankees in 2018 and was great. Hit .271, 24 home runs, 77 RBIs. Started off strong. Did struggle a little bit. You would understand. Rookie needs to adjust to the system, but a guy that a power hitting infielder, a guy like that, is very valuable, and a guy is going to probably be in pinstripes for 8 to 10 years. Hopefully, he stays there. Now, right now, they have him at second base. We'll see what happens through the years. Might shift him back to his natural position, shortstop. And even though, yes, they got rid of Chapman, the Yankees re-signed him anyway in 2017. So you trade Chapman away to get the Cubs' best prospect. Now you have, and he's re-signed Chapman. So you ended up with both anyway. Now you have Masahiro Tanaka, Japanese pitcher. Now this would be a little tricky situation because previously the Yankees had Hideki Arabu, 97. He bombed. A couple years later, to combat with Dice Camp in Boston, they have Kei Higawa. He bombed, so now you have a lot of questions. You have this phenomenal Japanese pitcher, but is he going to be another bomb or not? And not only that, the Yankees had to pay a fee to even talk to him. But I guess they did the scouting and they felt confident enough in Tanaka, so they signed him to a 7-year deal, $155 million, a major investment to a guy you're still not sure is going to perform well. Well, he turned out to be phenomenal. Now, his first game in 2014, gives up a home run to Melky Cabrera in his first at-bat. You're like, uh-oh, here you go. But actually, he went on for the rest of the game against the Blue Jays, won the game, and overall for the season, went 13-5 with the ERA under 3, 2.77, was phenomenal for a while. Unfortunately, in the game against the Indians, he did partially tear that UCL, and then you were like, oh, okay, now this guy's going to need the Tommy John surgery and that. And every season after that, even I was saying to myself, oh, he's going to need surgery, that thing's going to snap. But never did, and consistently, he's been a stable force in the Yankee rotation. It's a little ups and downs, but when it comes to the postseason, he's money. ERA 1.50, you can count on him. And the last postseason run against the Boston Red Sox, he was the only starter that the Yankees could count on. And in 5 seasons in pinstripes, an overall record of 64-34, so that's 30 games over 500 with an ERA of 3.59. Not too bad. Now, after a miserable 2008 season, the Yankees wanted to come back strong in 2009 and go for the whole thing. So, of course, they did through free agency, getting CC Sabathia, getting Mark Teixeira, getting A.J. Burnett, giving them big contracts. But originally, it all started with a nondescript trade with the Chicago White Sox, picking up Nick Swisher. Now, originally, he was supposed to be the first baseman for the Yankees before they got Teixeira, but Teixeira was going to go to Boston. Supposedly the Steinbrenners found out in kind of like a last-minute situation. They made Teixeira a last-second offer, and they got him down for Boston. And, that turned out great because the Yankees won the championship in 2009. But if you look at Swisher, at the time he was kind of a nondescript player. He had a couple good years in Oakland. Then was playing for the Chicago White Sox and not getting along with manager Ozzie Guillen supposedly, and Guillen was keeping him out of the lineup, and Swisher was only batting like 200, wasn't happy there, so Cashman trades for him just for a couple of Wilson betterment and some minor leaguers, so really gave up nothing. Swisher comes to the Yankees and it transformed his career. In his 4th season in pinstripes, he cranks out 105 home runs, overall 349 RBIs, was an all-star in 2010, and he would kind of morph into that second placeholder for the Yankees, which is something that you saw again with Curtis Granderson a couple seasons later. Now, after the Yankees won their 3rd championship in 2000, and they signed Mike Mussina, you figure, wow, this is going to be running off another 3 or 4. Well, unfortunately, it didn't work that way. But they did pick up Mussina in 2001, 6-year deal worth $88.5 million. They would resign him to a 2-year extension later on. But he was great for the Yankees. In his first season, goes 17-11 with a 3.15 ERA, led the American League. Now, he did get to the World Series that year. Game 1 got beat up, so, kind of put the Yankees in an 0-1 hole. Now, he did come back in Game 5 and pitched relatively well. He was losing, but of course, the Yankees had one of their great comebacks wins in that series. But overall, they did lose the World Series, and overall, Mike Mussina wouldn't get a championship with the Yankees. But he definitely had a great run in his 8 seasons, going 123-72 with a 3.88 ERA, winning 3 Gold Gloves, and did win 20 games in 2008, and just finished second behind Cliff Lee for the Cy Young. And by getting 123 wins with the Yankees, with his work with the Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles, became an exclusive player to win 100 games with 2 different teams. And there's a very good shot that Mussina could go to the Hall of Fame now, whether there's a Yankee hat or a Baltimore Oriole hat. Well, I think I already discussed this. You should know. Well, this bat's not as big as Godzilla, but a real Godzilla, well, nickname was Hideki Matsui. Now, Cashman signed him in 2003, a big star in Japan, but there'd be a lot of uncertainty about a guy like that. Now, look, he hit a whole bunch of home runs in Japan, but they have smaller ballparks, and there's a lot of domes. Would that translate over here in the States? Now, a decision with Ichiro is going to be a little different because Ichiro is more of a slap hitter. He uses his speed. That could translate better. There's a little bit of mystery of whether signing Matsui would be a good idea. Can his power translate here in the States? Well, Cashman signed him to a 3-year deal in 2003. His first game hits an RBI single, and in his first game at Yankee Stadium, hits a grand slam. So something special about this player, and overall he turned to be out a fantastic idea, a fantastic move, and a fantastic Yankee for a number of years. And he was also an Iron Man. He was kind of a Cal Ripken type in Japan. Played every game, and his first 3 seasons with the New York Yankees also played every single game. Unfortunately, in 2006, as a left fielder, slid down, hurt his wrist, and missed a whole chunk of time. And after that, his knees started to go on him a little bit, probably from playing all those years in Japan on the AstroTurf. Again, never missing a game. A very dedicated, a very serious, a very professional type of player. But since he never took that time off, he kind of deteriorated pretty quickly, unfortunately. But the Yankees got a lot of good stuff out of him. And in fact, 2003, he should have been the Rookie of the Year. But at the time, they sort of saw Japanese players as imports, so the award went to Angel Baroa. But, you know, that's garbage, because right now, the current Rookie of the Year is a Japanese guy, Ohtani. So they changed the rule. Really, Matsui should have been the Rookie of the Year, but it doesn't matter. Matsui went out on a high note in 2009, winning a World Series and also being the World Series MVP. Well, in 2009, the Yankees needed an ace, so, well, they just bought one, CC Sabathia. Now, the season before that, he jumped around from the Cleveland Indians to the Brewers, and he literally just pitched the Brewers into the playoffs. They came up short, but he was going on like 2-3 games rest, and there's a lot of, you know, uncertainty. Like, do you really want to sign a guy like that who already has a lot of innings on his arm, and just the inning before, you know, arm probably almost fell off his body? But the Yankees signed him anyway to a 7-year deal with an opt-out after 4. Now, he would opt out down the road, but the Yankees would restructure his deal and keep him on. But, you know, the Yankees really nailed it. He was an ace, a left-hander, and, you know, first season in 2009 goes on 19-8 with a 3.37 ERA. And speaking of 2009, well, that's when they opened up the new Yankee Stadium. And who better to get the ball for the first game of the new Yankee Stadium than CC Sabathia? Wins the World Series, pitched well in the playoffs, and even the year after that, 2010, pitched well, phenomenal again, winning 21 games, going to the All-Star game. And he just really was an anchor in the Yankee staff, a clubhouse guy, a lot of stuff, you know, just beyond the stats now. He had a few seasons there in the middle, you know, between 2013 and 2016 where, yeah, a lot of injuries, and plus he was changing as a pitcher. He used to be a power pitcher, and, you know, as you get a little older, you lose your fastball. So he had to kind of adjust to be more of a finesse pitcher, sort of a la Andy Pettitte. And he bounced back strong finally in 2017, going 14-5, and the Yankees been signing him kind of one-year deals. So now 2019 will be his final season, so we'll see, you know, what happens with him. Hopefully he goes out on top. But it was a great move by Cashman. Now, Curtis Granderson, now, he's a player who was with Detroit. I liked him a lot, so when the Yankees brought him over in 2010, I was very happy. But his first season with the Pinstripes didn't start off very well. Got hurt early on, missed a chunk of the season, but did end up with 24 home runs and 67 RBIs. And he had a swing that was just perfect for Yankee Stadium. But it was the 2 seasons after that where he really took off the charts. 2011 ended up with 41 home runs, 119 RBIs, and then backed it up a season later with 43 home runs and 106 RBIs. Great out in center field, could cover a lot of ground. Maybe not the strongest arm in the world. A speedster, guy hits triples, very old-fashioned type, old-school player, and a very, very likable guy. But unfortunately, 2013 had a major injury, and overall, the 2013 Yankees were quite terrible overall. And then, of course, when he was up for free agency, they let him go over to the Mets. But the 4 or 5 years they got out of him, which really was making no money, and to get him, they traded Edwin Jackson and Phil Koch, who were well, Edwin Jackson overall had a good career, but he didn't really give up major for him, and you got an all-star caliber player, someone who won the Silver Slugger Award in 2011. Granderson's a nice guy. We'll forgive him. We'll let him go, and he'll probably be back for Old Timers Day. Why'd you have to pick the Mets? Now, after the 2014 season, Derek Jeter was retired, so Cashman needed a replacement for shortstop. So who'd he get? Didi Gregorius, a trade with the Arizona Diamondbacks, giving up Shane Green, who, you know, power right-handed pitcher, starting pitcher, a little promise, but nothing you would wowed about. So the Yankees shipped him out, got Didi Gregorius back, and if you look where the 2 players are now, it was a virtual steal by Cashman. In his 4 years in pinstripes, Didi has cranked out 81 home runs with overall 299 RBIs. Great defensively, hasn't won a Gold Glove yet. Very close to getting one, though, and he's a type of guy that very easily consider, you know, for a shortstop, for the type of power swing he has, MVP type, all-star type caliber player. And Didi overall is just a great guy, great clubhouse guy, very, you know, friendly, face of the franchise type player. Now he's hurt right now, going through some Tommy John surgery. Will come back this season and is going to be a free agent after the 2019 season. I think the Yankees will just resign. It just seems he just fits well with the club, and he's been part of this rebirth of the whole baby Bombers. But Didi himself, you know, didn't get off to the greatest of starts. You know, in 2015 had a lot of errors in the field, a lot of base running mistakes, a lot of instinct problems, and you would almost think, you know, did the Yankees make the right decision? Plus, you got to understand, he's replacing an icon in Jeter who's there. But it seemed like a smooth transition. It didn't, you know, he wasn't too big for it. He worked hard, and now he's probably one of the best shortstops in the game. Orlando Hernandez, El Duque, Now, the Cuban defector, a lot of people knew about him. So he defects from Cuba, is in Costa Rica, and the Yankees are looking at him. Some other teams are looking at him. The Yankees do end up signing him. 4-year deal for only $6.6 million. Now, for him, that's tremendous money coming from Cuba. But still, you just don't know how this guy's going to perform. So the Yankees had him. Now, in '98, the Yankees had a good rotation already, so you really didn't need him. So he was down in the minors. So strangely enough, David Cohen's at a relative's house. Dog bites his finger. He misses a start, so it's like, all right, bring up El Duque. He comes up, throws a great game, and from there on in, El Duque stayed on the Major League roster. Cohen didn't lose his finger, and he eventually came back, and yes, he pitched great for the Yankees as well in the rotation, but overall for Orlando Hernandez in his first year in pinstripes goes 12-4 with a 3.13 ERA. And not only that, in the postseason, pitched probably one of the biggest games in Yankee history. Now, in the league championship against the Cleveland Indians, the Yankees were down 2-1, and Game 4 was El Duque. And yeah, it's his first time guy in a postseason. How's he going to perform? And that Cleveland Indian lineup was just sick. You have Jim Thome, and you have Manny Ramirez, and it's just one big slugger after another. But El Duque is great. He goes like 7 innings. The Yankees win Game 4 to tie the series 2-2, and then the next game, David Wells wins. Game 5 puts the Yankees up 3-2. The Yankees come back to the Bronx and then eliminate the Cleveland Indians and go on to the '98 World Series, where again El Duque pitches great in Game 2. But you know, if El Duque doesn't win that Game 4 and the Yankees are down 3-1, it's probably show over, and that would have been a huge disappointment because that was the 114 win Yankee team. So to win 114 wins and then not go on to win the championship would have been a major disaster. But of course, El Duque saved the Yankees bacon that way. And overall for the Yankees, pitching the World Series again, 99, 2000, 3 championships. Overall for the Yankees, 9-3 postseason record. But the number one Cashman move has to be Scott Brosius. Now, 1998, it's Cashman's first season, traded Kenny Rogers to Oakland, getting Brosius. And Kenny Rogers was awful for the Yankees. Now, they signed him in '96, was terrible, wasn't any better in '97. Now, Kenny Rogers would reinvent himself a few years later by putting, pine tar in his hand and, cheating a little bit, but no one talks about that. But at the time, he was complete garbage for the Yankees, and they shipped him out, getting Brosius. Now, Brosius at the time wasn't really high, didn't have any high stock value as well. Batting only around 200, always had the power potential, great defender, and that's kind of the reason they wanted him, but they had no idea what an offensive player he would turn out to be. So in his first season as a Yankee, hits 300 even, 19 home runs, 78 RBIs. A year later, wins the Gold Glove, but it was really 1998 that was just a great year for Brosius. In the World Series, hits a big home run, Game 3 against Trevor Hoffman, and overall is the World Series MVP. And again, to think you got this great guy and only trading away Kenny Rogers, it was a virtual steal. And Brosius, in his 4th season as the Yankees, 4 trips to the World Series with 3 championships, not a bad run. And even though in 2001, yes, the Yankees lost that World Series, in Game 5, Brosius hits a memorable home run off of Byung-Hyun Kim, one of the great Yankees postseason moments, even though it was in a losing effort. And Brosius said goodbye to the game at the right time after that year, did retire. And in the years after that, spent time as a coach and stuff. But he'll always be remembered, just for that moment. And, just what a great move by Cashman in Cashman's rookie season as GM. Hope you enjoyed the show. Now, don't forget to check us out on YouTube. Click that little bell icon to get notified anytime we post new content. And don't forget to subscribe.